All right, I have to chuckle. A student came and took a lesson yesterday, and I said, hey, what do you want to get out of today's lesson? And he goes, you know what? I just want to hit the ball dead straight. I'm like, what do I look like, a magic genie, right? It's not easy to hit the ball dead straight, okay? But we can talk about ways for you to learn how to go about doing that, especially at least so you can straighten out your hook or your slice or whatever it is that you might be fighting, because typically that's what people come in to take golf lessons for, right? Their ball's not going straight. All the troubles on the sides, right? The lakes, the OB, the hazards, all that stuff. If we can keep the ball going straight, and if we can understand kind of the characteristics of why a ball goes straight, you can start hitting your golf ball straight. So there's something that I like to call DPlane, okay? And DPlane is basically, and as I'm referencing it, it's the plane angle by the shaft formed at address, okay? So I've got kind of just an alignment stick here just to kind of give us a little bit of a sense of that angle. And you'll watch as some of these great players are hitting, take a look at their D-plane as they're coming into the golf ball, especially some of the straightest hitters. Notice how their club comes down that plane, strikes the ball, and then exits, and it stays very close to that plane, right? So these are a big reason why these golfers hit it straight. Literally, their club is in a position as it comes down and through to where it's going to produce a square face and a neutral club path. Those are the two things to hitting the golf ball straight. Club face, club path, right? It's called the king and queen of just kind of the laws of ball flight. And we've got all these launch monitors that'll help us kind of figure out what our club path is doing and what our club face is doing. But I'm going to show you ways where you don't necessarily need that. You can tell by your ball flight, or you can tell just by looking at video and seeing where is my club in relation to this D plane. Am I below plane, right? That's going to give me a path that's going to the right. Or am I above plane? That's going to give me a path that's going to the left or more in the over the top direction. Okay, and just some characteristics that go along with that. Anytime somebody is below plane, the face is going to start closing much more rapidly, right? So we're going to get a lot of pushes and we're going to get a lot of hooks, depending on what the club face is doing right around that impact interval, right? But you're below plane coming in like this, pushes and hooks, right? One day could be hooks because you're doing too much of this. Other days you're leaving the face open and we're just leaving it out to the right. Okay, vice versa, probably the most common swing flaw is the club tipping outside the hands, right? It's way above this D plane. Now from here, we're gonna start to pull the club across in this fashion, in this chicken wing fashion, in order to kind of hit a straight golf ball or a functional shot. You obviously would not swing left and then turn the face over. You would hit the left corner of this room. So we hold on to it, right? And those are the golfers that are hitting pulls, pull fades, pull slices, right? Lacking a little bit of distance. That's usually the shortest ball flight of the two, right? So in a perfect world, we're looking to come down right on this plane, come slightly from the inside, and then the club works back inside, right? The first one I told you was inside out, and then the second one we talked about was outside in. And then the resulting face that's going to happen from there. So all you have to do, okay, to kind of figure out your D plane, let me remove this for 1 minute, is have a sense, okay, when you're looking at your swing on video, if you just draw a parallel line to your shaft angle at address, right? And there's many different apps that do that, and they cost $1.99, $2.99. You just import your swing videos in there. If you start to see that your club is like this, you're going to get a club path variable, right? Like we see here, that's going to be more to the right. If you see that your club coming down is above this D plane or outside your hands, you're going to get a variable that's to the left. And to the degree that you are outside of it, it's going to be more left. To the degree that you're inside of it, it's going to be more right. From that point, okay, once you've determined what your club path is, you can start to kind of predict what your face is doing, right? Is my face closed? Is it square? Is it open at impact? The goal would be like, kind of back to that reference of the guy I was talking about earlier. He wanted the holy grail of golf shots. I want the ball to start dead straight with no curve, okay? Now, that's not what all golfers do, but I think it's a great thing to be able to learn, right? If you've been playing golf for 1 year, 5 years, 20 years, why don't we try to hit some to see if we can get the ball to go dead straight? Yeah, you might normally play a little fade or a little draw, but let's try to just, experiment a little bit, see if we can hit a straight ball. This machine will track it for us. Okay, so let me give you some examples here. I'm going to come down, and I'm going to come down below plane, and I'm going to leave the face open. So I would see that on video, but I'm also going to see it on my flight scope here. So my club face was my club path was 9-degree right, and my club face was 10-degree right. So I hit a block to the right. It went 147 yards with a 7-iron, and it went 27 yards right. Okay, so that's going to be the relationship if you're hitting blocks to the right. You're going to have a path right and a face right, and that's going to kind of produce this straight ball that goes off to the right. If it's to the right and it slices more, your club face is open to that path, which that's going to be kind of like a double negative. It's going to go right and more right. We obviously don't want that. If you hit it right and it actually hooks back some, your club face is closed to that path. Okay, but I digress. Let's go on to the next one. Here's the other golfer where that club path is starting to come over, and then they start to hold on to the face. Probably going to lose a little bit of distance. Okay, let's check that one out there. You see it curving off to the right. Now there I got a 15-degree left path, and I got a 5.7-degree right face. That ball only went 115 yards, okay? It's a very weak glancing hit. That's why typically I try to move golfers away from that pattern as soon as possible, because they're going to lack in distance. Their drivers are going to spin too much rather than roll. And just in general, there's a lot of bad mishits that come. When the club path goes this way, there's a lot of dominating with the upper body. The head and chest are moving forward. You get steep angle of attack. So you're going to struggle with your strikes a lot too. So if we can kind of learn how to deliver that club onto that D-plane, right? So depending on which one you are, in order for you to get to that D-plane, it's going to take a little bit of you not just watching my video, you got to watch the video of yourself and determining when my club gets down to parallel to the ground, where exactly is my shaft? Is it back here, or am I one of those that are out here? Hey, it's your coach Zach Allen here, and I hope you're enjoying today's lesson. In all of my years of coaching and studying the golf swing, I've discovered there's only one thing that separates the best ball strikers in the world from the rest of us. I call it the magic move, and you can use it to generate effortless power and consistency in your game. Since I don't have the time in this short video, I've put together a 3-part web class where I show you everything you need to know, nothing held back. I call it my Magic Move Training Series, and you can get the entire thing free of charge by clicking the link in the description below. You won't find these videos anywhere else, so click the link right now and join the over 100,000 golfers who have already gone through this incredible training. And now, let's jump back into today's lesson. So for that first one, right, say you're the player that comes into the ball and you get too far underneath. We actually need to feel what I call tumble. We need to get the shaft tumbling this way more so. Okay, and I do that by putting a little downward force on the golf club. So I start to feel like I'm kind of pushing the club down, and that's getting the club to tumble out and get out to that D-plane. And then from there, I can bring it around my body. A great example of this, take a look here, is Sergio Garcia. Even though he shallows the club, watch how much he tumbles the shaft out to this position and then around and through. He's got one of the most shallow, laggy swings in golf. People would think he would hit it really high and hit draws. He actually takes big divots, hits down on even his driver, and hits pretty low penetrating golf shots, okay? So if I was that player that was coming underneath, I'm gonna feel like I start to put some tumble. I start to rotate this forearm down in order to get the club head to kick out. Okay, now vice versa. If you're the player that the club is kicking out like this too much, we actually need to feel the opposite effect. We need to feel like, say my lead thumb here is actually working more this way, right? My forearms are going this way more on the downswing. That's gonna help me keep the club head behind my hands, right, at this position, not working outside, okay? What usually can go along with that feeling too, as you go to feel like the club is working this way, is if I feel like my right shoulder is very passive, right? It's very parked. I'm not pushing anything like this. If I push my shoulder out, it pushes the club out. If I start to push with my forearms in this fashion, it starts to push the club head out. So that player could definitely benefit from trying to come down and feel like that club head stays nicely behind their hands. And, you know, just that general sensation of I'm hitting the inside part of the golf ball. I'm not even hitting the back of the ball. I'm definitely not hitting the outside part of the ball. But I'm coming from in here, my head is staying nice and steady, and I'm hitting the inside part of the ball. But with all this, the biggest thing is if you can learn some of these laws of ball flight, some of what it takes for you to get on this D-plane, it's going to be just revolutionary because you're not going to struggle with hitting the ball left and right. And, you know, some days it's straight and the next days you're going to the right and it's slicing and then we're hooked. You know, we're getting all these different shots. That's really the big, let's say, holy grail for you to figure out, how do I need to hit the golf ball straight? That's why you need to see your swing on video and have an understanding of what you need to get on that D-plane, okay? Many golfers are not. If we can get you there, it'll make a huge difference. So I hope that gives you a little understanding of just what's happening with some of the ball flights, right? Of why they're going where they're going and why it's frustrating. If you like this video, there's one over here that talks a lot about how to correct some of those ball flights also. That might give you some extra insight. But just for now, I hope that helps you out, and I hope to see you hitting that ball dead straight on a frozen rope next time out.